ChatGPT said, Jake never expected anything unusual to happen on the Harmony space station. Every day felt the same to him. He would wake up early, get ready, eat a quick breakfast, and head to his job as a technician. He worked with a team of humans who kept the big space station running, making sure nothing was broken and that everyone had what they needed. Jake liked his routine because it was simple and safe. He liked knowing what to expect. One quiet afternoon, as Jake was checking the power lines in a long hallway, the lights suddenly changed from white to red. Red lights always meant an emergency. Jake felt his heart beat faster. He listened carefully as the alarm started to ring, and then a voice came over the speaker. It was Linda, his supervisor. Her voice sounded serious. She said, "Attention. Crew, an unknown alien vessel is requesting emergency docking. All technicians, please report to your stations." Jake put away his tools and rushed to the main control room. When he got there, the place was full of people talking at the same time. Some were worried, some were excited, but everyone looked to Linda for answers. Linda stood in the middle of the room, looking at a big screen that showed a strange alien ship slowly coming closer to the space station. The ship was silver and shiny, with blue lights moving along its sides. It did not look like any ship Jake had ever seen. A few minutes later, Linda spoke to everyone again. She said, "This is the Wa.HFY royal ship. The Queen herself is on board. They have requested immediate help. I want everyone to be careful and show respect. The Wa.HFY are peaceful, but this is an unusual visit. I need 2 volunteers to bring supplies to the Queen's quarters. Jake, can you help?" Jake nodded, surprised that Linda had chosen him. He quickly joined Maria, another technician, and they followed a Wa.HFY guard to a special part of the station. The hallways there were wide and clean, and the walls were decorated with silver and blue designs that looked like stars and flowers. Jake had never been in this part of the station before. When they reached the Queen's quarters, the guard stopped and spoke to them. "Please be quiet. The Queen is troubled. Her baby will not stop crying. She hopes you can bring her some comfort items from your world." Maria handed Jake a small box of supplies, including a soft blanket, a music player, and some toys. The guard opened the door and let them inside. Jake felt nervous. He tried to walk softly and not make any noise. Inside the room, Jake saw the Queen of the Wa.HFY for the first time. She sat on a silver couch with her head in her hands. She looked tired and worried. Her skin was a light shade of blue, and her hair was long and pale, almost glowing in the soft light. Her dress was made of shining fabric that looked like flowing water. Next to her, a small alien baby was crying loudly. The baby was wrapped in a thin blanket and seemed to be in distress. There were other Wa.HFY in the room too. Some were dressed like doctors and some looked like guards. Everyone looked sad and helpless. The Queen looked up as Jake and Maria entered. Her eyes were bright but full of tears. She spoke softly, but her voice was strong. "Thank you for coming. My daughter has not slept for 3 days. None of our healers can help her. We do not know what is wrong." Jake felt sorry for the Queen and her baby. He remembered when his little sister was a baby and would cry all night long. His mother used to rock her gently and sing to her until she slept. Jake wondered if something simple might help the alien baby too. Linda arrived a moment later and spoke with the Queen. "Your Majesty, this is Jake. He is one of our best technicians. He is also good with children." Jake blushed at the praise, but the Queen looked at him with hope. "Will you try to help my baby?" the Queen asked. Jake nodded, unsure of what he could do but wanting to try. He walked closer to the crying baby. The sound was sharp and sad, and it made Jake's heart ache. He carefully picked up the soft blanket from the supply box and wrapped it around the baby. The baby stopped crying for just a moment, looking up at Jake with large, bright eyes. Then she started crying again, even louder than before. Jake tried to think. He remembered the music player in the box. He turned it on and soft music started to play. The baby listened for a few seconds, but the music did not help. The Queen watched with worry, her hands shaking slightly. Maria tried handing the baby a small toy, a stuffed animal shaped like a bear. The baby looked at the toy and held it for a moment, but then dropped it and started to cry again. Nothing seemed to work. Jake felt a little hopeless. He did not want to disappoint the Queen, but he did not know what else to try. The room was quiet except for the baby's cries. The Queen stood up and came closer to Jake. She looked at him with deep sadness and hope at the same time. She said, "In my culture, someone who can calm the royal child is seen as a true friend of my people. If you can soothe her, I promise you any reward you wish, even marriage to me." Jake was so surprised he could not speak. He never thought a queen would ever say something like that to him. He looked at Maria, who looked just as shocked as he was. The other Veari whispered to each other, but no one else said anything. Jake realized that now everyone in the room was looking at him. He tried to stay calm, but inside, his mind was racing. He thought about his mother and how she would hold his sister close and sing her a quiet song. Jake wondered if the baby needed comfort, not just toys or music. He sat down next to the Queen and the baby. He gently touched the baby's tiny hand. It felt warm and soft. Jake spoke softly to the baby, telling her that everything would be okay. He started to hum a quiet tune, the same song his mother used. To sing, the baby's cries began to slow down. She looked at Jake with wide eyes. For a moment, the room was silent. The Queen watched, holding her breath. Jake kept humming, hoping that maybe, just maybe, he could help this little alien baby find peace. And in that quiet moment, with all eyes on him, Jake felt something change inside him. He knew he had to do everything he could to help, not just because of the Queen's promise, but because it was the right thing to do. Jake sat quietly on the silver floor beside the Veari Queen and her baby. He kept humming the old lullaby his mother used to sing. The alien baby was still making little noises, but her crying was softer now. The room felt different. Before, it was full of worry and sadness, but now there was hope. The Queen leaned closer, watching Jake and her child with gentle eyes. The Veari healers and guards stood back, unsure of what would happen next. Linda gave Jake a small nod from across the room, encouraging him to keep trying. Maria stayed close, ready to help if needed. The Queen knelt beside Jake. She spoke quietly. "What are you singing?" Jake answered in a soft voice, "It's a lullaby from Earth. My mother used to sing it to my sister when she was upset." The Queen listened to the tune. She looked at her baby, who was now staring at Jake with big, shining eyes. "Does this song help human children sleep?" she asked. Jake nodded, still humming, and gently patted the baby's back. "It always worked for us," he said. The Queen looked amazed. She had never seen her daughter so calm since the trouble began. She said, "We have songs for our children too." But nothing helped her. Maybe she needed something new. Jake smiled a little, glad that his simple song was making a difference. For a few minutes, Jake kept humming. The baby blinked and closed her eyes for a moment. Then she let out a small sigh and curled her tiny blue fingers around Jake's thumb. The Queen covered her mouth, almost crying from happiness. The Veari healers looked at each other in surprise. One whispered, "He's calming her." "I don't believe it." Linda whispered to Maria, "Jake has a special touch with kids." "I've seen him help before, but this is something else." Maria nodded. She watched Jake gently rock the baby, not too fast, just the way his mother taught him. The alien baby's breathing slowed down. Her cries turned into soft little whimpers, and soon she was almost asleep. The Queen placed her hand on Jake's shoulder. She said, "You do not know what this means to me. For 3 days she has not slept. None of my people could help her, but you have given her peace." Jake felt shy. He did not know what to say. He just kept rocking the baby, feeling proud and scared at the same time. The baby finally slept in Jake's arms. The Queen took a slow breath and sat beside him. For the first time since he entered the room, Jake noticed how tired the Queen looked. Her eyes were red and her hands shook a little. She seemed very grateful and very tired. Jake handed the sleeping baby to her. The Queen smiled and wrapped her daughter in the soft human blanket Jake brought. The Veari in the room began to whisper among themselves. They had never seen their Queen so relaxed. The guards lowered their weapons and stood quietly. The healers began to check the baby's pulse and breathing. They all agreed that she was finally calm and safe. Jake felt the weight of their attention, but he tried to stay calm. The Queen looked at Jake and said, "Your kindness will not be forgotten. You have helped the royal family when we needed it most. Please stay here and rest. I wish to talk with you more when I return." Then she took her baby to a quieter room, followed by 2 healers. Linda and Maria came to Jake. Linda patted him on the back. "You did great, Jake. I've never seen anyone help like that before." Maria grinned. "The Queen might really keep her promise to you." Jake blushed, feeling awkward about the Queen's earlier offer. He still could not believe she had promised him anything he wished, even marriage. A few minutes later, a Vayari advisor in a long blue robe came into the room. He bowed to Jake and the others. "The Queen wishes for you to stay as honored guests. You are welcome to use any rooms you need. Food and water will be brought for you. The Queen will see you again soon." Linda and Maria thanked the advisor. Jake was still thinking about everything that happened. He was just a technician, but now he had soothed an alien baby and spoken with the Queen. He sat down in a chair, feeling tired but happy. Maria asked Jake, "How did you know what to do?" Jake shrugged. "I just did what my mom used to do. I thought maybe a baby, no matter where she's from, might need the same things as human babies. Comfort, a soft voice, maybe a song." Linda said, "You were brave to try? Some people would have been too scared to touch a royal baby, but you just did what was needed." Jake looked at his hands. He remembered the way the baby's fingers had held his thumb. He wondered if he would ever see her again. An hour passed, and the Queen returned. She looked better now. The baby was still asleep in her arms, breathing. Softly, the Queen smiled at Jake. She sat down near him. "My daughter is peaceful now, thanks to you. Please tell me about your home. Tell me about Earth and your family." Jake felt shy, but he started to talk. He told the Queen about his home in a small American town, about his mother, father, and younger sister. He told her about family, dinners, about playing games, and about how people on Earth care for their children. The Queen listened closely, asking many questions about Earth customs. She seemed very interested in everything Jake shared. The Vayari guards and healers listened. Too? Some took notes on little tablets, writing down things about human lullabies and comfort. The Queen told Jake, "Our people have traveled to many worlds, but we have never met anyone who could calm a royal child like this before. You have a gift." Jake smiled, feeling a little embarrassed. He never thought of himself as special. He was just doing what felt right. The Queen asked him, "If you could have anything as a reward, what would you wish for?" Jake hesitated. He did not know how to answer. He said, "I don't know. I just wanted to help." The Queen laughed softly. "You are honest, Jake. In my world, honesty is very important. I will still keep my promise. When you decide what you want, you only have to tell me." Jake nodded. He looked at the sleeping baby, and for the first time since coming to the space station, he wondered if his life was about to change forever. As the evening came, the Queen invited Jake to eat with her and her advisors. The meal was made of different foods, some from Earth, some from the Vayari home planet. Jake tried some of the strange blue fruits and found that he liked them. Everyone was kind to him, and he felt welcome. By the end of the day, Jake was tired but happy. He lay in his bed in a guest room, thinking about all that had happened. He knew tomorrow would bring more questions, but for now, he was just glad he had helped someone in need. He smiled, closed his eyes, and listened to the quiet sounds of the space station as he drifted off to sleep. Jake woke up early the next morning. The light from the space station's windows was soft and warm. He sat on the bed, thinking about the Queen, her baby, and the strange promise she made. Jake was not sure what to expect, but he knew one thing. For sure, he wanted to help. After breakfast, Jake got ready and walked back to the Queen's quarters. When he arrived, the room was peaceful. The Queen Lyra was sitting quietly with her baby on her lap. The small alien princess looked calm and happy. She smiled at Jake when he came in. "Good morning, Jake," Lyra said softly. "Thank you for coming back. I want you to meet my advisors. They wish to learn how you soothed my daughter." Jake nodded and smiled. "I'm happy to be here. I hope I can help more." The advisors were two Vayari elders named Soren and Alira. They wore long robes with shining blue and silver designs. They greeted Jake respectfully and asked many questions. Jake explained how he held the baby's hand, sang the lullaby, and rocked her gently. Soren smiled. Your human ways are simple but kind. We will try these with other Vayari children, Alira nodded. Your gift could change many lives here. Lyra looked at Jake with warm eyes. You have given us hope. For that, I am grateful. She paused, then said, Would you stay with us a little longer? My daughter needs a friend. Jake felt nervous but pleased. I would like that very much. For the next few days, Jake spent much time with the Queen and her baby. He learned about the Vayari culture and their traditions. He saw how their people cared for each other and the natural world. The Vayari were gentle and wise, but they had worries too. Their planet was far from Earth and their population was small. They needed strong friends. Each day, Jake sang lullabies, told stories, and played with the baby. The Queen watched him closely. Sometimes she asked Jake about Earth. Other times, she told him about Vayari history and hopes for the future. One afternoon, Lyra invited Jake to walk with her outside the space station in the garden area. It was a special place filled with plants from many worlds. Jake enjoyed the fresh air and the bright colors. He looked around at flowers that glowed softly in the sunlight. As they walked, Lyra said, Jake, you have become more than a visitor here. You are part of my family now. Jake looked at her, surprised. I don't know what that means, he said. Lyra smiled gently. It means you belong with us. Your kindness and courage have made you special. Jake felt a warm feeling in his chest. He remembered the Queen's promise of marriage. Now it seemed more real. But he still wondered if he was ready for such a life. Later that day, Jake was invited to a meeting with the Queen's Council. They spoke of the challenges facing the Vayari people. Their young were few, and the baby's health was very important for their future. The council believed that Jake's connection to the Queen and her child could help build a strong alliance between humans and Vayari. Jake listened carefully. He realized that his small actions had much larger meaning. He was part of something. Important now? That evening, Jake sat with Lyra in her private room. The baby slept peacefully between them. Lyra looked at Jake with soft eyes. Have you thought about my offer? She asked. Jake took a deep breath. Yes, I have. I don't know everything about your world, but I want to help. I want to be there for you and your daughter, Lyra smiled. That is all I ask. Days passed and Jake grew more comfortable in his new role. He learned Vayari customs and language. He shared stories of Earth. The Queen and her baby became his family. One night, the baby woke and started to cry softly. Jake picked her up and rocked her gently, humming the lullaby again. This time, the baby smiled and reached for his face. Jake laughed quietly. He felt happy and hopeful. His life had changed in ways he never expected. He was no longer just a technician from Earth. He was a friend, a protector, and maybe something more. Jake looked at the stars beyond the windows and thought about the future. Whatever came next, he was ready. Jake spent many days with the Queen and her baby. Each day, he learned more about the Vayari and their ways. The baby grew stronger and happier. Jake's song and gentle touch helped her sleep and smile. The Queen Lyra watched him with kindness and respect. One morning, Jake woke up early. The light in the Queen's quarters was soft and blue. He heard the baby giggle softly. Jake smiled and went to her side. The baby reached for him and laughed. Jake felt happy. He sat on the floor and played with her small hands. The Queen sat nearby, watching them with warm eyes. Later, Lyra asked Jake to join her in the council room. The place was large and filled with many Vayari leaders. Jake felt nervous but proud. The Queen introduced him to the council members. They all greeted him with respect. Lyra spoke to the council. Jake has helped my daughter and our people. His kindness is a gift. We wish to welcome him as part of our family. The council members nodded and smiled. They asked Jake questions about Earth, his life, and his thoughts about the Vayari people. Jake answered honestly. He spoke about the value of family, friendship, and helping others. The council listened closely. One elder said, "Your heart is true, Jake. You honor our trust." After the meeting, Lyra took Jake to a quiet garden inside the space station. The garden was filled with glowing flowers and soft light. They walked slowly, talking about their hopes and fears. Lyra said, "Our people are small in number. The future is uncertain. But with new friends like you, we have hope." Jake looked at the baby sleeping in her arms. "I want to help," he said softly. "I want to protect you and your daughter." Lyra smiled. "Your words mean more than you know." That night, Jake sat alone and thought. He remembered his home on Earth, his family, and the life he left behind. He felt a mix of fear and excitement. He knew his choice would change everything. The next day, Jake helped teach the Veyari how to care for their children differently. He showed them simple human ways, how to hold a baby, how to sing softly, and how to make gentle movements. The Veyari watched and learned quickly. The baby responded well. She laughed and cooed when Jake was near. The queen looked grateful. "You have brought new light to our lives," she said. Days turned into weeks. Jake's bond with the queen and her baby grew stronger. He learned their language and shared stories of Earth. The queen shared stories of the stars and the Veyari's history. One evening, the queen invited Jake to a quiet dinner. The room was filled with soft light and fragrant flowers. They ate strange but delicious foods. The queen looked at Jake with deep eyes. "Have you decided about my offer?" she asked. Jake took a deep breath. "Yes, I have," he said. "I want to stay here with you. I want to be part of your family." The queen smiled and reached out to hold his hand. "Then welcome, Jake. You are one of us now." Jake felt a new sense of belonging. He looked at the stars outside the window. His life was no longer ordinary. He had found a new home, new friends, and a new purpose. Together, Jake and the queen looked to the future, ready to face whatever challenges might come, knowing they would do it as one family. Jake felt a new life growing inside him, full of hope and care. The baby was now smiling often and growing strong. She loved Jake's gentle voice and soft hands. Each day, Jake sang her lullabies and told her stories about Earth. The queen, Lyra, watched with joy as her daughter's health improved. One day, Jake was walking with the queen in the garden of the space station. The plants glowed softly in the dim light. Jake looked at Lyra and asked, "How do you see the future for your people?" Lyra sighed softly. "It is uncertain. Our numbers are small and many worlds are far. But with new friends, we will survive and grow." Jake thought about Earth and his own family. "Maybe our two worlds can help each other," he said. "We can learn and grow together." Lyra smiled and took his hand. "That is what I hope for." As days passed, Jake learned more about the Queen's people and their culture. He shared human ways of caring for children, and the Veyari listened closely. They tried new methods to keep their young safe and healthy. The baby responded well to the love and care around her. One evening, the Queen invited Jake to a special ceremony. It was an ancient tradition of the Veyari to welcome new members into the royal family. The hall was decorated with glowing crystals and soft music filled the air. Many Veyari came to witness the event. Lyra stood before the crowd, holding her baby. She spoke clearly. "Today we honor Jake, who has shown kindness and courage. He has soothed the royal child and won our trust. He is now part of our family." The crowd cheered softly. Jake felt nervous but proud. He looked at the queen and her baby, feeling grateful and honored. The queen came to him and placed a glowing necklace around his neck. It was a symbol of trust and belonging. "Will you accept this gift and become one of us?" the queen asked. Jake nodded without hesitation. "I accept." The ceremony ended with music and smiles. Jake felt he had found a new home among the stars. After the ceremony, Jake and Lyra spoke privately. She said, "Our people will face challenges, but with you by my side, I feel stronger." Jake smiled. "I will stand with you, no matter what." The baby giggled and reached for Jake. He held her close and whispered, "We are a family now." Days turned into weeks. Jake's life was full of new experiences. He learned the Veyari language, their customs, and their hopes. The Queen trusted him deeply, and the baby loved him like a father. One night, Jake looked at the stars outside the space station. He thought about Earth and the people he left behind. He felt proud of the path he chose. His kindness had brought him here to a new family and a new future. He smiled and whispered softly, "Thank you for trusting me." Jake knew his life would never be the same, but he was ready. With the Queen and her baby, he was home. Jake woke to soft light spilling through the windows of the space station. The room smelled faintly of flowers from the garden nearby. He turned to see the baby sleeping peacefully in the Queen's arms. Lyra looked calm and happy, a gentle smile. On her face, Jake felt a deep warmth inside. This was his new life. Over the past weeks, Jake had learned so much. He knew the Queen's people, the Wa.HFY, better now. They were gentle and wise, with a strong love for their home and family. Jake felt proud to be part of their world. That morning, Lyra asked Jake to join her for a walk outside the station. They stepped into the garden, where glowing plants lit their path. The quiet beauty of the place made Jake feel peaceful. He looked at Lyra. "How do you feel about the future?" he asked. She sighed softly. "There are many challenges ahead. Our people are few, and dangers exist in space. But with new friends and strong hearts, we will survive." Jake nodded. "We will face them together." He reached out and took her hand. She squeezed his gently. Later that day, the baby woke and smiled at Jake. He picked her up and rocked her gently. She reached for his face, and he laughed softly. The baby's trust and love filled Jake's heart. In the days that followed, Jake helped the Wa.HFY prepare for the challenges ahead. He shared ideas from Earth about teamwork and kindness. The Queen trusted him, and the Council valued his advice. One evening, Lyra asked Jake to sit with her alone. She looked into his eyes and said, "Jake, you have become part of my family. Will you stand with us as we face the future?" Jake took a deep breath. "Yes, I will. I promise to protect you and your daughter." The Queen smiled. "Then our bond is strong." As time passed, Jake grew closer to the Queen and her people. The baby thrived, surrounded by love and care. Jake felt his life was full and meaningful. One quiet night, Jake stood by the window, looking at the stars. He thought about Earth and the journey that brought him here. His heart was full of hope and courage. He whispered softly, "This is home." Jake knew that challenges would come, but he was ready. With the Queen and her daughter beside him, he faced the future with strength and love. Together, they would build a new life among the stars.